they conclude their speech, but just sit and listen. It's very nerve-wracking up here. I will have to say my biggest fear is public speaking. I don't know how I ended up here today. But I'm so proud of them. I know all of us fourth grade teachers are. They are already winners in our book. So we will get started with Mr. Kieran Brown.
The million ways to annoy your sister. If you don't know these ways, I'm here to help you. A good place to annoy your sister is at the house. Oh no, there's a roach in the house, your dreadful sister says. Now you play with it. They also don't like when you go in their room. Say you're on the Xbox having fun, but then your sister comes in and turns it off and says you have to do your homework. It's because having fun annoys her, and dinner, the best time to annoy her. Your mom tells you to wash your hands, but your sister's in there putting on some dumb makeup. So you be smart and wash your hands and spit. And guess what your sister's reaction is? Ew! Oh, another one is smacking. Nobody likes smacking, especially your big sister. There's a bucket of delicious Texas Roadhouse butter in front of you. You already had your bread, but you're still hungry. So if you really want to annoy her, you just eat it. For those of you who have a big sister, I hope I gave you some new ideas. If you don't have a big sister, you sure are missing out on a lot of fun. When I win this thing, if I even am, I'm gonna laugh at her and brag. Whew, I've got another way to annoy her.
Why things are the way they are. Like, why do we go to school during day hours? Or why do we go trick-or-treating on Halloween? There's so many historical events that have affected our lives. Wouldn't you like to go back in time and learn how customs or events happened? I sure would. So I decided to build a time machine and visit some of these historic times. Come along on my journey with me. Our first stop is the prehistoric age when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Whoa, that was fast. Look over there. Is that a triceratop? He has 3 horns on his head and is eating all the leaves off the trees. He's enormous. The scary thing is he's not even one of the larger species of dinosaurs. Speaking of larger dinosaurs, look behind him. The trees are shaking. What could that be? I think it's a T-Rex. He's almost as tall as a tree. I think the T-Rex has just noticed us and is heading our way. We need to cut our visit short before we get eaten. Our next stop is December 17th, 1903. Look up! What is that? I think it's an airplane. On this day, the Wright brothers flew the first powered airplane. This was the start of one of the most fantastic and advanced transportations means we have today. I myself love to fly, and every time I am just as amazed how something so large and heavy can take flight. Buckle up, everyone. We have time for one last stop on our trip. And this one is going to take you to the moon. We are going back to July 20th, 1969. Spaceflight Apollo 11 has just safely landed on the moon. 2 astronauts, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, left the space vehicle to walk on the moon. Shh, listen, Neil Armstrong is talking. 1 small step for man, and 1 giant leap for mankind. The 2 of them spent 21.5 hours on the moon before they had to head back to Earth. Speaking of Earth, we need to head back. Whoa, that was a fun experience. I mean, where else can you see the dinosaurs, Wright Brothers, and take a trip to the moon in less than 3 minutes? Thanks for tagging along on my time travel, and stay tuned for our next trip back in time.
Miss Gabby Flies.
How summer camps were developed by Gabby Flights. The summer camp movement began in the late 1800s, over 100 years ago. Why? Because many Americans, including teachers, doctors, and preachers, were concerned about their children's growth and development while growing up in large cities. They believed in the healing effect of nature and encouraged the children from the cities to explore the wilderness and learn the values of independence, resourcefulness, and spirituality. They cooked their own meals, cleaned, and built huts. In 1881, the first summer camp opened. It was Camp Shakora in New Hampshire on Squaw Money. In 1900, the first summer camp for girls, Camp Redcroft on Newfound Lake, New Hampshire, was opened. The summer camp that I go to is Camp Greystone on Lake Tuxedo in North Carolina. Camp Greystone was founded in 1920. Next summer will be its 100th year at camp. I like it because there are fun activities like swimming, gymnastics, fishing, and basketball. But my favorite part of it is when you have been doing a lot of activity, then you lay down in a hammock and read. Other things I like are making new friends with people from different parts of the country, spending time outdoors, and gaining independence. But my absolute favorite thing is, this goes for you girls. This camp is only for girls. So sorry boys, this camp is taken. Sorry boys, Camp Greystone is a summer camp for girls only. So no boys allowed. Yes, but don't worry, there is a boys' swim camp right across the lake. Thank you.
I chose E.O. Wilson because he's an Eagle Scout and I am in Cub Scouts and I want to be an Eagle Scout too. E.O. Wilson's full name is Edward Osborne Wilson. Edward Wilson was born on June 10, 1929 in Birmingham, Alabama. He is an American biologist. People call him the father of social biology. Social biology is the study of the genetic basis of the social behavior of all animals, including humans. When Edward was 7 years old, he had a fishing accident and he damaged the depth perception in his right eye. He also had the onset of partial deafness while he was growing up. Dr. Wilson received his early training in biology at the University of Alabama and received his doctorate in biology at Harvard University. He was going to study birds, but since studying birds he needed to have good hearing, he changed to the study of insects, entomology, since he could easily observe insects without straining his damaged senses. Dr. Wilson is recognized as the world's leading authority on ants. Some people call him Dr. Ant. He made a series of important discoveries, including the demonstration that ants communicate through the transmission of pheromones. He published a lot of books throughout his career. Two of his books, one titled On Human Nature and the other titled The Ants, earned him Pulitzer Prizes. M.C. Davis, a resident of Walton County, developed the E.O. Wilson Biophilia Center in 2009. The center is named after and dedicated to Dr. Wilson, who has made his lifelong mission to educate the public about the importance of conserving the world's biodiversity. Dr. Wilson developed the term biophilia, which literally means the love of all living things.
I love to read about different places, specifically Ireland. I read that Ireland was run by kings and queens until the mid-20th century because it was controlled by England. Later, the Irish Republican Army fought against British forces for their independence. Now Ireland is run by a president and is a democracy. Very few Irish women are in higher parts of politics. It is mostly all men in their government. Ireland is an agricultural country. Agriculture is a major source of income and employment for the people of Ireland. The mild, moist climate is good for crops. Potatoes were their main crop and food to eat. The Great Irish Potato Famine in the 1800s was caused by blight, which is a potato disease. When it struck potato crop all across the country, disaster followed. Potatoes were not edible and 2 million people died or were forced to move to a different country. It was still controlled by England's king, so they had to keep exporting most of their wheat and dairy goods to England and other countries. The early Irish had Halloween traditions. The custom of trick-or-treating was founded in Ireland, when children and poor people went from door to door at Halloween. They sang songs or offered prayers for their dead relatives in return for food, usually a soul cake, which is a flat bread filled with fruit, like a small flat apple pie. This tradition is called souling. Dressing up in costumes is an old Celtic tradition. People dressed as evil spirits to resemble the dead or to please them, so they wouldn't. They thought if they met an evil spirit, it would accept them as one of their own and wouldn't take them away. The use of jack-o'-lanterns also came from Ireland, but they used a more common vegetable, in which they carved faces and turnips. Irish immigrants brought their tradition to the U.S. when they came to our country. Today, Irish children celebrate Halloween the same as we do, except it's a big celebration. Some cities have parades, fireworks, and a large festival. It is a time of family fun.
Carl Loughlin Sipes is my great-grandfather on my mom's side of the family. He was born on February 27, 1915 in Ripley, Arkansas. His parents were Billy and Rosie Sipes. When Carl was born, a black woman who was a midwife helped his mom when she had him. Then she had to turn the information in at the county office. Since the midwife was black, they assumed Carl was black too and put that on his birth certificate. Several times over the years, many family members tried to get his birth certificate changed to say that he was white, but not one succeeded. My granny still has a copy of his birth certificate, and it still says that Carl was colored. Carl was the second oldest sibling out of 5 kids. Carl had one brother, Jean Daniel, and 3 sisters, Desi, Margie, and the youngest, Little Ray, who was born on Carl's 8th birthday, and for his present, he got him. Carl started dipping snuff when he was 5 years old. Snuff is a powdery tobacco product that they held behind their bottom lip and made them spit a lot. Carl's whole family dipped snuff their whole life, even his mom. Carl's parents were very poor. They worked in cotton fields, picking cotton by hand from the prickly cotton plant. When Carl was my age, 10 years old, his dad ran off and left him. Carl had to quit school to work in the fields every day to help support his family. They worked on southern plantations along with the slaves. They actually got paid, not very much, but little. They also lived in slave housing, which were like little shacks. When Carl was 36 years old, he married Imogen Copeland. She was only 18. They moved to Blytheville, Arkansas. They had 7 kids, 5 girls and 2 boys. My mom's mother, my granny, was the 3rd daughter. When my granny was 12 years old, their family moved to Illinois. They only took what could fit in their 1956 Jeep Special. That is where Carl lived for the rest of his life. He died at home in his sleep on May 16, 2017. His wife of 66 years still lives there. She is 85 years old. Carl Loughlin Sipes was 102 years old when he died.
The Soccer World Cup is much like the Super Bowl. Cheering fans, two teams competing, a trophy, but the main difference is that the World Cup is international, not national like the Super Bowl. And instead of teams competing like the Minnesota Vikings and the New England Patriots, countries like France and Zimbabwe are competing for the top rank. Fédération Internationale de Football Association, or FIFA, was created in 1904 in Paris, France. At first, only 7 countries, France, Belgium, Denmark, the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland were members. A few years later, some more joined. Now FIFA had more than 16 teams, finally enough to hold the first World Cup. It was held in 1930. The first 3 winners of the first 3 World Cups were Uruguay, Italy, then Italy again. Since the World Cup is held every 4 years, there was supposed to be one in 1942, but it was canceled because of World War II. After World War II, one of the best, if not the best, players came around. He was known as Pele. Pele grew up poor. He did not have a soccer ball, so he used sock stuffed newspapers to use as a soccer ball. After joining the professional team Santos, he was chosen as one of Brazil's players. In 1958, Pele led Brazil to their first World Cup win. Brazil won the 1962 World Cup. It was hoping to win the 1966 World Cup, but the unthinkable happened. England won. Also, something bad happened in the 1966 World Cup. Brazil lost their star player, Pele. The reason he quit was because he thought the game was too rough. The 1970 World Cup was probably the most famous of all World Cups. It was Brazil versus Italy. Both teams had won 2 World Cups, Italy in 1934 and 1938, and Brazil in 1958 and 1962. After 90 minutes, Brazil won, and guess who helped? Pele! Believe it or not, he was back. FIFA established the yellow and red card system. If there's a foul, a player gets a yellow card as a warning. A red card means the player can no longer play. Pele thought these rules would make the game less rough. In 1994, the U.S. hosted the World Cup. In 1994, the U.S. got to the round of 16, but only to be defeated by Brazil. Eventually, Brazil went on to win the 1994 World Cup. After the 2002 World Cup, the winners were Italy, Spain, Germany, and France. The next World Cup is in 2022 in Qatar. So if you ever get a chance, watch it. I bet you'll hear, he's moving down the field. Pass it to Mbappe. Mbappe! Mbappe! Shoots! Go!
Bevan Wilson.
Some pigs purr. They're not the pig with a curly tail, a snout, who loves the mud and says oink. I'm talking about the amazing guinea pig. Let me introduce you to this perfect pet. Guinea pigs are native to the South American countries of Peru and Bolivia. Over 10,000 years ago, people used them as food. Yes, food. They still eat guinea pig in some South American countries today. My cousin went to Peru last year and he sent me a picture of a roasted guinea pig being served on a stick in a restaurant. Yuck! In ancient times, guinea pigs were even sacrificed to the gods in the Andes Mountains. But now they are best known as an easy-to-keep small pet. Their scientific name is Cavia porcellus, which means little cave pig in Latin. Guinea pigs are also called camies, and they are members of the rodent family, not the pig family. There are many types or breeds of guinea pigs. A Rex is the largest guinea pig at 18 inches long. Peruvian guinea pig has long silky hair that touches the ground. There is even a hairless guinea pig, though it looks more like a naked mole rat or that roasted guinea pig I was talking about earlier. The cavy you see most often in pet stores is usually the American guinea pig. My guinea pig's in the Abyssinian. The Abyssinian is different than other cavies because its coat grows in crazy swirling patterns or cowlicks. I got my guinea pig from Santa when she was 9 months old. She is white with black and brown patches of crazy fur growing in different directions. Her swirls or cowlicks are called rosettes, and her name is Rosie. Guinea pigs are social creatures and live in herds.
They're calm, friendly, and curious. When a guinea pig is happy, it will purr or rumble its voice. Rosie's entire body vibrates, letting me know when she purrs, letting me know she's happy. So there you have it. Pigs that purr, they're happy guinea pigs. Thank you.
So in third place, Mr. Johnny Strickland. In second place, Mr. Kieran Brown. And in first place, Mr. Gibson Will.